All right, good morning and welcome to the Thursday, May 4th, 2023 CRTPO Technical Coordinating Committee. We'll start by going around the room. At the table, we'll start to my left, and then following table introductions, we'll go to the audience and go to the left-hand side of the room and then finish on the right.
Sheldon Turner, Mecklenburg County Air Quality.
Heather Maloney, Town of Huntersville.
Rich Hoffman, Iredell County.
Vaughn Hanson, Village of Wesley Chapel.
Bjorn Hansen, Union County.
Will Washam, Town of Mooresville.
Genesis Herod, City of Statesville.
Justin Russell, Town of Stallings.
James Kelly, Town of Waxhaw.
Andrew Ventresca, Town of Troutman.
Travis Johnson, CRTPO.
Liz Babson, City of Charlotte.
Dan Lieber, City of Charlotte General Services.
David McDonald with Cats.
Marley Henning, Bicycle Focus Area.
Anil Panicker and CDOT Division 12.
Glenn Cook, Greenway Focus Area.
Lisa Stywinner, City of Monroe.
Aaron Tucker, Town of Cornelius.
Andrew Golden, Town of Davidson.
Dana Stujenke, Town of Matthews.
Sean Epperson, NCDOT.
Steve Fry, Mid Hill.
Bob Cook, CRTPO. Neil Bird, CRTPO. Andy Gursky, DOT. Mark Gentleman, Charlotte DOT. Warren Cooksey, Turnpike Authority. David Dad, NCDOT.
Joanne Quinn, Charlotte DOT.
Darrell Leonard, CRTPO.
Jennifer Stafford, CRT.
Andrew Eagle.
Jeff Thompson, CRTPO.
In the plans or?
Candace Rory, Charlotte Planning Department. Thank you. And again, welcome. We'll go to our first item. We need to adopt today's agenda. And prior to the adoption of today's agenda, do we have any modifications?
And Liz, we have one modification. CDOT staff has been informed that the development status of the property for the Fred D. Alexander has changed. So CDOT's preference is to delay board action on this alignment. So they've requested that that item be pulled from today's agenda.
Thank you. May I have a motion to adopt today's agenda with the modifications described? Second. Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm sorry, who was the second?
That motion carries unanimously. The next item is to adopt today's consent agenda. We have two items on the consent agenda. That is the approval of the March 2nd, 2023 TCC minutes and the 2020-2029 TIP amendments. May I have a motion for that action? And a second? Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. And we have no business items for today, so we will roll into two information reports. The first, we'll hear from Travis, and Travis is going to provide information to us on the draft 2024-2033 TIP public comment summary.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me today to talk to you about the draft 2024-2033 Transportation Improvement Program called TIP. Today, I want to give you an update on the draft TIP and the public comment period. I want to talk about a supplementary public comment period that we're going to engage into, and then talk about next steps and then open up to any questions anyone might have. So as again, a reminder, this part or the STIP reminders is NCDOT must adopt a new STIP every 4 years, and this is typically done every 2 years cycle for STIP in North Carolina. NPO's TIPs are incorporated directly without change into North Carolina STIP. And these are officially constrained project list. CRTPO must ensure that the TIP is consistent with NCDOT STIP and we also must make amendments to the current MTP and perform a air quality conformity determination as part of this process. We opened a public comment period from March 16th that concluded on April 14th. We received one comment from the town of Cornelius with concerns about NCDOT project schedules. And then all the comments that we had received were included in your agenda packet. Additionally, during this comment period, NCDOT released its schedule changes during the public comment period from an email from April 3rd. Inside of these schedule changes, we received modifications to 16 project schedules for when they would be developed, and those are delays ranging from 1 to 2 years. That information was also included in your agenda packet. And this is 1 in Iredell, 13 in Mecklenburg County, and 2 in Union County. So because of this change in the number of projects, we are opening a supplementary 14-day public comment period, which will be initiated today and go until May 17th. And this will be a review of the updates to the 2024-2033 TIP, amendments to the 2050 MTP, and also the air quality conformity determination report will all be again opened up for public comment for this 14 days. And again, this is due to the release of the supplemental information. Final action is still anticipated to be taken on the June 21st CRTPO board meeting. And here's the list that is in your agenda packet. And again, it's just each project that was delayed by 1 or 2 years is now highlighted, and you can see what the original proposed date was. And then the new delay, majority of the projects were highway, with one project being a bike ped project. So with that, again, we've completed so far is the release of the draft schedule. We've done public comment period. We've distributed, and then NCDOT distributed the updated version of the project schedules. So for next steps, we're initiating the public comment period. We're coming here as an information item to both the TCC and the board, and then we'll come back to the June for the TCC for a recommendation for approval, and then a recommendation for adoption from the board, and we'll be going to the June 21st board meeting for that adoption. And with that, do we have any questions about the change in schedule or the supplementary comment period?
Any questions for Travis or discussion on this topic? Is everybody awake? All right, Travis.
Thank you very much.
got off easy this time. Next, 2026-2035 TIP development process in NCDOT prioritization 7.0 update. We'll also hear from Travis on this item.
Thank you very much. As one TIP process comes to an end, another one begins. So the 2026-2035 TIP development process has been initiated. So I want to go over with you just a background of P 7.0 and an update on where we are. We're going to talk about schedules for the P 7.0 and then open up to any questions you might have. And again, with the TIP, we are identifying projects to submit to NCDOT for scoring. This includes highway, bicycle, pedestrian, transit, rail, and aviation. There's another category for ferry, but because we do not have any ferries in our region, we do not get to take advantage of that category. One change we are doing this year is we have separated the modes to different sub-leads for each of the process. So I will be leading this effort. So when you start seeing emails from me, I'll be typically reaching out for questions about highway projects. And then I'll be leading the other efforts as well, but assisting with the sub-leads with transit will be Jarrell, who'll be reaching out for transit and rail. Curtis Bridges will be leading the bicycle effort. And then Brian Elgore will be leading aviation effort. So if you see emails for P 7.0, just know it might be coming from different people, but we're all working together to create that prioritization 7.0 list. So starting in May, we have from May until September of 2023 to identify projects to submit into the prioritization 7.0 process. After we have the projects submitted, they will be reviewed for project scoring from October to March. And then at that point, in May of 2024 is when we'll have the opportunity to apply local inputs, and that will go from May to July. Then from September 2024 to November 2024, NCDOT will calculate final scores and program projects, and then we'll release a draft STIP for the 2026-2035 in December of 2024. So these are all preliminary dates as we work towards this. Just wanted to let you know what we should be looking and that this will be a multi-year process. So again, as we're talking about funding projects, they're going to be broken out into 3 separate categories. You're going to have larger projects, the statewide mobility projects. These will be competing statewide against the rest of the state, and these will make up 40% of the overall available funds. We'll have regional impact projects, and these will be divided of 30% of the total costs, or not total costs, 30% of the total available funds, and they'll be distributed also based upon the state population of the NCDOT regions. And then next is the division needs, and this is all divided up among NCDOT divisions equally, and then they'll set up by each of the divisions we are in. So we will have our 2 divisions working together with us to submit projects, and we are coordinating with each of the divisions to make sure we can optimize the use of these funds. So as we work through this, just know that the statewide mobility is purely going to be a scoring method that we will have no input beyond just putting forth the best projects we have and hoping that they score well. For regional impact and division needs, we have opportunity to apply local input points to essentially assist projects to get elevated for development. At regional impact, those local inputs will count for 30% of the overall score. And then at division needs, where we have the greatest influence, which is where it will be 50% of the overall score will count from that local input needs. So where we have the most opportunity to help influence the project list will come from those 2 categories. So for submittals for MPOs, every MPO gets a base submittal of 12 submittals. And then for every 50,000 people, and then for 500 centerline miles, we get an extra vote. So for this year, or for this cycle, this year TPO will receive 49 project submittals for each of the modes, and then NCDOT will still receive 14 submittals for each of the modes. For prior rounds, approximately we've submitted 47 highway, about 20 to 25 bike ped, 5 to 7 transit, 5 to 7 rail, and about 25 to 35 aviation. It's important to note that the way the legislation is written, 90% of the funds through this process have to go to highway projects. So that's why you might notice that there's always the maximum number of highway projects, but maybe not the maximum number of other projects, because there's just not as much money for those modes in this process. So where does our P 7.0 list come from? So in P 6.0, it's a 10-year list where you have the first 5 years and the second 5 years. The projects in the first 5 years are committed as part of the project, and they start moving forward. The next 5 years get counted as carryover projects, and they move into the prioritization 7.0 database. In addition to that, sibling projects of STIP that are planned or underway or part of the other projects also get counted as carryover projects, but again means they're automatically moved over to the prioritization 7.0 database. So projects that were in P 6.0, not part of the last 5 years of the STIP, and are not siblings or plan underway, move into what is called a holding tank project. These holding tank projects are open to be resubmitted to prioritization 7.0, but these projects will start taking some of our 49 available slots. So each mode again gets 49 opportunities to be submitted, but holding tank projects count towards that over 49 number. And so these again are projects that have been submitted, have gone through the process before. So after then you submit the holding tank projects is then when you have the opportunity to add new projects into the process. Now, for all other modes besides highway, those typically are nominated by the airports or the communities for projects they would like to see included in the process, and they go through the ranking. For highway, for the MPO, our typical process is to go to the 2050 MTP, look at the horizon years, and start moving projects from the MTP into the highway, because there's so many projects in the MTP. That's the way the process has been set up. So we don't do a call for projects for highway as part of this process, because we have a reservoir of projects ready to go in the 2050 MTP. So again, just know, I think about that is our project P7 database is going to be the projects in the STIP from the 6 to 10 years that are currently included unfunded projects, the sibling projects of that are currently underway. And then project submittals are going to count as the holding tank projects that we would like to resubmit as part of this process that will count as part of our 49 total submittals. And then after we get those processed and then submitted, we then have the opportunities to add new projects into this process. And that again makes up the database, which again is 49 submittals for each of the modes. I'm going to stop here because I know this is complicated slides and see if anyone has any questions at this point.
The holding tank projects, are those guaranteed or are they?
Yep.
They're gonna go through another review type?
Yes.
And how many of those are there, do you know?
Yeah, we'll get to that. Any other questions? Oop, okay. So carrier projects do not require, again, submittal slots and will be automatically resubmitted for prioritization 7.0. Holding tank projects will use a submittal slot and need to be resubmitted to be included in prioritization 7.0. So as you all remember, P 6.0 had a few hiccups. And so we have a lot of opportunities to submit projects. And so currently in our holding tank or our carryover, we have 34 highway, which will be automatically resubmitted, and 1 aviation project that'll be resubmitted. But we also currently have 60 highway projects, 25 bike ped projects, 10 transit rail projects, and then 19 aviation projects that are in the holding tank. And so again, that means that if we choose to resubmit them, we may, and they may be submitted, but they will eat into our 49 available slots. So as you think about that, you realize that 60 is greater than 49. So it's just important to keep that in mind as we work through this process, as there might not be many opportunities to submit new highway projects, but we won't know until we work through this process. So again, as a reminder, we're currently working through the identifying projects. We are working with the different divisions. We've formed a highway subcommittee, which will be reviewing the holding tank projects of TCC members, which will be meeting here in May. We will get the project list together, and then we're going to start working through this process to hopefully have a list for everyone to look at. So again, June 2023, NCDOT will open up project submittals for all modes. Also in June, we plan to have a list of potential projects to submit for all modes. And we're going to also ask that you approve or recommend an approval to the MPO to open a public engagement period to review that list. We will then have a 30-day public comment period, which is tentatively scheduled for June 30th to July 29th. And then the plan is to come back to you in July. I'm sorry. That should be August, sorry. August for approval, and then that gives us the month of September to submit or hit submit on all the projects in the prioritization 7.0 database to get those submitted in time. So again, we have that window from June to September to get everything identified, prioritized, work through our process, do public engagement, and then get it submitted to the Spot Online database to then start the ranking process. So again, sorry for the clarification, is the August TCC and MPO meetings. So with that, do we have any questions? Bjorn?
Go back to the previous one.
Yep.
What's our deadline to get input on projects?
So for which projects? Okay, so we're going to present a list to this group in June. So that'll be an opportunity to review the list of projects and provide feedback on what has been selected. We are working with subcommittees that are led by each of the subcommittee leaders, Darrell, Brian, myself. And so like, for example, we'll have a highway subcommittee that will look at the holding tank projects, evaluate those for resubmittal, and then look at the 2050 NTP and see if there's any that line up to come in. But then all those projects will be shared with the TCC and the board in June. And then that's not the end, because any feedback we receive or any updates to the information, we still have opportunities to update during that public comment period. But again, we have to get a finalized list by August for adoption. Any additional questions? Yes.
Could you go back about 4 slides? I'm trying to make sure I'm thinking about this correctly. One more. Okay. When you say projects not program cascading to the next category,
Yes.
explain that to me.
So so like statewide projects. So if a project qualifies for like statewide funding tier, you can apply for statewide. And if it doesn't get into that process through the ranking, it has the opportunity to cascade down, which means then it could be evaluated as a regional impact project. And then it would be ranked, but then it'll be ranked by the separate categories that are in regional impact, but it has a chance to essentially be funded in that lower category.
With regional
So
folks.
statewide, so it'd be either statewide to regional or regional to division, but they cannot cascade up. So you cannot take a division project and get it funded in regional, but you can get a regional impact project that could be funded in the division needs tier if it cascaded down.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I think mine's just a clarification question. So you said the subcommittees of CRTPO is going to go through all the holding tank projects and provide this board a list.
Hmm.
Will we receive the list before the NCDOT opens for projects, or do they open for projects, but they're not really due to be submitted till August? I may be
They're not due
confused
to be
there.
submitted till the end of September. So we are not going to submit the projects until we have a finalized list. So the window opens up. We are still going to be working through this process. So technically, even the methodology has not been adopted. That methodology is not adopted till next month. So we're just working with the best information we have.
Okay.
We are working through the subgroups for the list, which means working with the airports to submit projects, working with the bike and pedestrian subcommittee. And again, with highways, we'll have the members of the TCC who are working through that list. And then we'll present that to you in June, but that's not the end list. That's the start of the conversation. We'll then work through that process, but we need to get to a finalized list by August to make sure we have time to get everything submitted. So again, we have to add everything manually into the Spot online database and get all the information in there, make sure it has the latest estimates and all of that. So it's 49 times the different modes is the potential amount of uploads we have to do. So we need enough time to make sure it's possible.
Any further questions or discussion? All right, thank you, Travis. Lots of work over the summer. Okay, moving into our final item for other reports. Again, you have your Division 10 and Division 12 project updates that are included in your packet. So please let us know if you have any questions for those folks. I think they are with us today. And Dominique that's fine. Do you have anything for us? And if you do, I'll probably need to ask you to come to the microphone.
No, so I just think Travis, I'm sorry. Yesterday, I probably did. I just got to now, so everybody did it at some point today. But it's a newsletter, just the main newsletter, just general information about what's going on with NCPD, also through NCDOT.
Okay, all right, great. So Dominique talked about from Transportation Planning Division with NCDOT, a May newsletter, and Travis will get that out to members shortly after this meeting. Alex, do you have anything for us? Welcome.
Thank you. Late as usual. Just one thing, actually, just wanted to let folks know here about that we are hosting our quarterly webinar coming up this month. It's on Thursday, May 25th at 10 in the morning. I've already sent this information to the MPOs, but I will make sure that Travis has that information just in case. So anybody is welcome to attend that. In particular, we have Heather Hildebrandt talking about the Clean Transportation Plan from NCDOT. So that will be a guest speaker at that. And then we have a number of things cooking right now, although I don't have any grants to announce this time like I usually do. So we're full speed ahead though. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Warren, do you have anything from Turnpike Authority?
Yes, ma'am. One quick update. Thank you. I've mentioned in the past about our back office system upgrade to make customer service better. That led to a better and improved website for our customers to use for NC Quick Pass for those traveling on our toll facilities. The next thing to look for will be our brand new app. We are working our way through the various approval processes at the different app stores to make a mobile app available to our customers that replicates all the functions of the website, so that people can do what they expect to do, which is all the stuff that they do on the website they can do on their phone. Our hope is that will be rolled out before the next TCC meeting, so be on the lookout for that. And for those in the quarter who may be wondering, yes, eventually that app does replace the HOV app. So we will eventually consolidate the HOV app that's out there for travel in 77 into the full NC Quick Pass app. and the separate HOV one will go away. So lots going on technologically behind the scenes for customer service for tolls facilities, especially those here in the Charlotte region. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to our next update. Jennifer Stafford is going to provide us an update from the Project Oversight Committee.
Good morning. So I just wanted to give you a quick update. For the Project Oversight Committee, we will be reviewing shortfall applications. Our shortfall was open early March and closed late April. We received 2 applications for supplemental funds for existing CRTPO projects. So we will come back to the TCC with that information, hopefully recommendation from the POC. The other thing I wanted to go over, I think all of you should have received an announcement. We are doing a day-long training on Monday. Most of you have signed up. Thank you for that, either in person or remote. We will probably order food today. So today was the cutoff, but if you need to sign up to be in person, if you can do that, and I maybe should have had a slide up there with the RSVP. I look through your email or send me a little email if you need that RSVP, or just send me an email and I'll sign you up. The training will start at 9:30 and go to 3:30. We'll kick off with FHWA, who will talk about project delivery overview, what's expected of the local jurisdictions, as well as what's expected from NCDOT. And then we have several NCDOT speakers that will go through sort of the cradle to grave type thing. So we'll talk from, hiring a professional consultant, a PE, to the actual closeout process. And then during lunch, we'll spend part of lunch talking with Jeff Burleson, who many of you know from Division 10, and he will kind of go over sort of the helpful hints, sort of what questions he receives a lot of, or what mistakes he commonly sees. At the very end, oh, please, we will talk a little bit about NCDOT's portal. And I keep stressing we need to do that in detail because it's confusing. I think that there's sometimes hiccups on moving a project forward because we either get in it, we are confused, or sometimes we think we're done and we haven't hit the submit button at the bottom, which is hiding. So hopefully that will go into detail. It actually could receive its own class. So I just wanted to share that information with you. The remote participation will be listen only. We have about 20 people calling in. We have about 51 people in person, and that includes speakers as well. So again, if you need to change from in-person to remote, that's perfectly fine. If you want to do vice versa, that's fine too. I just want to make sure we get you something to eat for lunch if you attend. So with that, thank you. Do you have any questions?
Any questions for Jennifer? All right, thank you. Curtis, you have a quick update for us on Bike and Ped work group. I said Curtis.
The 2 agenda items in your TCC agenda. The most important of those is our P7 item. Travis spoke in some detail on this earlier, but we will hope to emerge from this meeting this afternoon with a P7.0 submittal list, and you all will see that list in June for information. Any questions on that? All right. May the 4th be with you.
Thank you. All right, Travis.
So as a reminder, today is the last day to reserve. That's 4 p.m. today for the joint MPO roundtable, where we get an opportunity to talk with our neighboring MPO. So please use this QR code or RSVP by 4 p.m. today, and we'll be excited to see you to participate in this great event hosted by Central Lina at the airport. So again, 4 p.m. today, if you'd like to attend. And then we have one item from Bob who wants to update.
Morning, everyone. I just wanted to acknowledge Administrative Professionals Day. It was actually last week. But most of us, or a lot of us, were in Greenville for the NICAMPO conference. But I think, as most of you probably know from this process and from your own processes at your jobs, that none of these things happen by themselves. They just don't pop up out of nowhere. They have a lot of support, and oftentimes that support is very much behind the scenes. And so we wanted to acknowledge all the work that Theo does for us to make these events happen and to make them happen so flawlessly. And not just this, but the board meetings and Wednesday staff meetings and so on. And just all the other things you really don't see that just go on the 8th floor. She is a valuable member of our team, really kind of the glue that keeps us all together and keeps us doing what we need to do to make hopefully these processes, such as what Travis talked about today, moving or at least look like they're moving forward effortlessly. There is a lot of effort, and we're like ducks, I suppose. A lot of the activity is underwater and you don't see it. But so Theo is like I said, the glue in all these processes. And we thanked her earlier today upstairs, but we also thought it was important to acknowledge her contributions to everything we do, to all of you, because you benefit from it as well as we do, as staff does. So Theo, thank you for all the hard work. It's much appreciated.
All right, thank you. So again, as always, thank you for your time and attention and participation in the important work that we do in transportation planning in this region. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second. Got it. All right. Thank you. Have a wonderful month.